Please pause for a moment of silent reflection. Please rise for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, Gladiators. Today is Wednesday, February 7th, and we've got an exciting show planned for you today.
We're continuing our series of live interviews with career tech teachers, queuing up a JC sports update, and throwing some academic updates your way.
Let's get started. I'm Dave Babbar.
And I'm Liza McPherson, and Jcnn starts now. Good morning, Dave. We're halfway through the week.
Yes, we are. We're getting there. Plus, we're already 1 week into Career Tech Month.
That's true. We've already spotlighted engineering and robotics, and we've still got plenty of classes and clubs to celebrate.
Today, we're covering computer science and ABTF, right?
Yep, and we're starting by featuring a computer science teacher, Commander Schenk, a military veteran who's dedicated to his students.
Here's my report on the Commander's unique teaching style and what makes him an amazing Career Tech teacher.
Commander Schenk is a computer science teacher at JCHS. Aside from teaching, Commander Schenk is a 21-year Navy veteran.
My name is Commander Schenk. This is my 9th year in public schools. I teach AP Computer Science, 3 different pathways: the Computer Science pathway, the Internet of Things pathway, and the Cloud pathway.
Innovating in the teaching of computer science, Commander Schenk uses a hands-off based teaching strategy.
My teaching philosophy is that you have to inspire your kids to become self-starting learners that can teach themselves whatever the subject is you're in for the rest of their lives.
This hands-off approach allows him many freedoms with the curriculum to go above and beyond what is required for him to teach.
I teach the entire curriculum for the state, and I'm typically done covering that curriculum by Halloween. Then we go a whole lot further. So I teach computer science as a full-on engineering discipline, which it is, and so we cover all of the standards in the fall, and then in the spring, we are completely project-based, so that the heavy learning is in the fall, the execution and the practice and the bringing it home is in the spring.
Along with having a PhD, Commander Schenk served in the Navy for over 20 years.
My time in the Navy was incredibly educational for me. I've been in every major theater of war since the first Gulf War. I was one of only 30 pilots airborne the day after 9/11.
As a Navy pilot, Commander Schenk flew 11 different aircrafts and has spent over 7 months of his life at the controls of an aircraft.
One of the things that kept me in the Navy was working with young sailors. So that's why you have a lot of veterans that get out of the military and end up in education, because we're used to training tomorrow's generation.
Commander Schenk has learned many valuable skills as Navy commander that have helped him in his teaching career.
I learned an immense level of attention to detail, because when I was a flight instructor, for example, if the students I had in the front of my jet at 500 miles an hour over the skies of Texas didn't learn what I was teaching them, they would go out on a solo and actually die. So if you can handle that, the computer science classroom, even with freshmen and boys, is not that much of a challenge.
While teaching may not be as eventful as being a commander of the Navy, it remains just as gratifying.
Watching the light bulb go off in kids. I have a box in my house, in my office, of cards that I get from students who basically have sent me cards that say, "Thank you for changing my life. I never knew I could do something like this." you've changed my vector as to what I want to do for a living. And if that doesn't wind your clock, nothing will.
While Commander Schenk's teaching style may not be conventional, it is shown to be effective in creating some of the most well-prepared computer science students in the state.
Thank you, Commander Schenk, for giving your all to your students. Speaking of community, any rising juniors and seniors in the TAG program can apply for a TAG internship next year to go out and get hands-on experience for high school credit. If you have questions about the program, ask Ms. Fitzpatrick, our school's internship coordinator. Applications are due to her room 299 on Friday, February 23rd. And another exciting career tech update, a new pathway will be added next year called Exercise Physiology. It will consist of 3 classes: Healthcare Science, Healthcare Essentials, and Fundamentals of Exercise Physiology. Interested freshmen can talk to their counselor about signing up for the first course next year. To hear more about career tech, Danny's in the field with our very own AVTF teacher, Mr. Everett.
Thanks, Liza. I'm here with Mr. Everett, the Gladiator Media Head and Film Teacher here at JCHS. Mr. Everett, as a new teacher coming into the CTAE department, what are some changes you see being made?
So as far as CTAE goes, I think that Johns Creek has like a really good footing already as far as like computer science and engineering. I'm happy to come in and fill the need for AVTF, but there's also the exercise physiology class that's coming up, so I think that's something to be excited about for a lot of Johns Creek students.
What would you say is your favorite part about the CTAE department?
I think the cool thing about CTAE is that it can be very beneficial from like a career standpoint. Students get to come into the classroom and work on projects, and it's very hands-on from start to finish. I think even at the level 1 class where it could be maybe more terminology and learning the basics, it still leads into that work-based learning opportunity, and I think that's something that a lot of the CTE students look forward to.
What are some changes you see to be made in the new AVTF pathway that you've created?
So the cool thing about Johns Creek is the Jcnn daily broadcast, which is happening now. But I'd like to incorporate some other styles of media, like potentially a social show and getting into more podcasts, things like that, that can be produced on a regular basis. But overall, I think so far the groundwork has been set. I just got to kind of build it up. So if you're out there and interested in AVTF, we would love to have you as a part of the pathway.
And what are some things you have to say to kids who are looking to take a CTAE class on their schedule next year?
So I would say, like, take a look now. Obviously, we're trying to feature some CTA pathways this week on the show. So be on the lookout for things that jump out at you. If you think that computer science or marketing or exercise physiology sounds like your thing, then go ahead and jump in. Go with your gut and get into a class that can be a part of your future career, maybe.
Make sure to check out the CTAE department and everything we have to offer here at JCHS. Signing off for JCHS, I am Danny Elkhoury. Back to the host.
Thanks, Danny, and thanks to Mr. Everett for all his dedication to our AVTF program. Johns Creek will be hosting plenty of events in the upcoming months, including the Georgia Power Recruitment event on March 1st. Attending will provide students the opportunity to apply for an internship this summer. Scan the QR code on flyers around the school and fill out Georgia Power surveys to sign up. If you've ever dreamed of giving a TED Talk, Johns Creek is continuing TED JC this year, and they're looking for student presenters to give a 10 to 15-minute TED Talk in the auditorium. If you have any questions, see Dr. Swagger in room 166. Calling all PALS Club members. The PALS Club is hosting a Valentine's Day social and scavenger hunt tomorrow from 3:30 to 4:45. All PALS should wear their PALS Club t-shirts and come ready to have some fun. The event will begin right after school in the cafeteria. Lastly, International Night is on April 12th this year, and sign-ups to host a table are now open. It's a great opportunity to showcase your ethnicity and earn volunteer hours. Get with a group of your friends to represent any country. Scan the QR code on posters around the school or visit at JCHS ICE on Instagram. To end off the show, let's throw it to Kriti Tatia with a JC Sports Update.
Good morning, Johns Creek. I'm Kriti Tatia, and here's today's Johns Creek Sports Update. This past weekend, Johns Creek Wrestling dominated regionals with 7 finalists, including our reigning state champion, Brock Hacker, taking home first place. Yesterday, Johns Creek boys soccer beat Walton 4-1. It was a heated match between the two of the best teams in the state, and our Gladiators emerged victorious. And speaking of victors, girls and boys varsity tennis also beat Chattahoochee 3-2. Finally, our dive team crushed it at state, with Johns Creek students winning first and second place, and swim will head to state on Friday, hoping to bring home first place like they did last year. Let's send it over to Andrew, who is sitting down with Coach Smith from Swim and Dive to discuss their victories and preparations for Friday.
Good morning, Johns Creek. I'm Andrew Rooney, and I'm here with...
My name is Coach Smith.
Nice. And today we are talking all things swim and dive. So, Coach Smith, obviously yesterday was a very successful day. You had 2 divers win state. How does that feel?
It feels pretty awesome. We have successful kids, right? We have some kids that work hard, and it's awesome to watch them compete.
Nice. And obviously the team's been very successful in the past few years, winning state multiple times. How do you intend to keep that going this year?
Well, you see, we're going to get in the water, and we're going to go faster than everyone else. Okay. Now, the team has been working exceptionally hard this year. There's a lot. We've talked a lot about grit and resilience. We've talked a lot about, making sure that you have goals all the way along the season. And so I'm just really excited for us to finish the season out. We obviously won county championships, but there's a lot more, on the table here for us. And so we're really excited to get to Friday.
Of course. And what has the journey been like to get back to state?
It has been a lot, right? Like a whole season is kind of like living a lifetime. And so, you're going to practices. We practice at 9 o'clock at night. If you're in the seasonal team, if you're a year-round swimmer, right, you're practicing sometimes at 6 in the morning and at 6 in the evening. So there's a lot that goes into a season. There's a lot behind the scenes. We have parents that are making sure that we have the food we need. We have parents that are making sure that we're getting the places we need to go. So there's just a lot that goes into it. But as long as we're still getting in the water and having fun, then we're doing the right things.
That sounds good. And finally, how has coaching this team affected you?
I have some more gray hair. Maybe I might be losing some hair. But this team is a lot of fun to coach because the kids show up and they want to do well and they want to go fast. And that is an exceptional thing. That's an exceptional gift for a coach to have.
All right. Sounds good. Well, that's all for me. Signing off, I'm Andrew Rooney. Now back to Kriti.
Thanks, Andrew and Coach Smith. Congrats to dive and good luck to swim at state. Today's our athletic signing day ceremony, so students, friends, and family are invited to the auditorium at 3:30 to celebrate our student athletes. Looking a bit further into the week, baseball plays their first scrimmage tomorrow, and on Friday, girls and soccer will play Appalachia High School, and boys lacrosse will play at North Forsyth and girls at Marist. This has been your Johns Creek Sports Update. I'm Kriti Tatia. Now back to the hosts.
Thanks, Kriti. And that's all for today's show, Gladiators.
Signing off, I'm Dave Babbar.
And I'm Liza McPherson. And as always, don't forget to stay classy.